Hello and welcome to Maths with Jacob. This lesson will focus on fraction of a group, part 2. This lesson continues on from the previous video. We will be asked to find a given fraction of a group. The answer will be in the form of a number, and we will use concrete materials to learn the process. Example 1. Consider the 4 apples in the following group. Use the diagram to calculate the answer to the following problem. A half of 4. The answer? The fraction of 1 over 2, which is a half, tells us that we have 2 separate groups. So that 2 tells us that we have 2 separate groups, and the 1 tells us that we are interested in only one of those 2 separate groups. So the 1 here tells us we are interested in only one of those groups. The number of apples in this one group will give us the answer. So, the 2 separate groups are obtained as follows. Here's one group, and here's the other one. So there are our 2 separate groups. Hence, one of those groups represents 2 apples. 1, 2. So, a half of 4 equals 2. Example 2. Consider the 12 marbles in the following group. Use the diagram to calculate the answer to the following problem. 1/3 of 12. Answer? The fraction of 1 over 3 tells us that we have 3 separate groups, and the 1 tells us that we are interested in only one of those 3 groups. The number of marbles in this one group will give us the answer. So, the 3 separate groups are obtained as follows. There's one group, 2 groups, and 3 groups. Hence, one of those groups represents 4 marbles. So, 1/3 of 12 equals 4, because there are 4 marbles in one group. Example 3, a half of 10. Let's do this the same way. A half of 10. The 2 tells us that the 10 is divided into 2 equal groups. So the answer, 10 equals 5 plus 5. So here are the 2 groups. So, a half of 10 equals 5, because we're just looking at one group because of that one there. So a half of 10 equals 5. Example 4, 2/3 of 6. After dividing the above oranges into 3 groups, we can see that 2/3 of 6 equals 4. Okay, the 3 tells us that we have to have 3 groups. So here's one group, 2 groups, 3 groups. The 2 tells us that we are only interested in 2 of those groups. So 2/3 of 6 equals 4, because those 2 groups contain a total of 4 oranges. Example 5, 3/4 of 20. We're interested in 4 groups which make up 20. So 20 equals 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. There are our 4 groups. The 3 tells us we're only interested in 3 of those groups. So we're interested in those 3 groups there. 5, 10, 15. So 3/4 of 20 equals 15. Example 6, 4/5 of 15. The 5 tells us that the 15 is divided into 5 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4/5 of 15 equals 12. The 4 tells us we're interested in 4 of those groups. 3, 6, 9, 12. And that's why the answer is 12. Example 7. 5/7 of 14. We are told that we have 7 groups which make up 14. So here are the 7 groups. There they are there. We are only interested in 5 of those groups. So here are the 5 groups. Let's have a look. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So 5/7 of 14 equals 10. So we have seen how to find the fraction of a group, which really is the fraction of a number, by using concrete materials, and we've also seen some examples where we don't need to use concrete materials.